vanilla sweet cream, cold brew goes hard. That's my drink.
Okay. It's difficult for me because I don't want to be the person that goes up and orders. Typically, if it was just, I didn't have to worry about who was taking my order. I knew that they would get it correctly. I would say, let's do a grande vanilla latte with an extra shot.
Grande vanilla latte.
But then it just gets kind of too much of instruction, and so I'll just Americano. Just make me Americano.
Do you get to the front of the line and have a bit of a stressed out moment?
Yeah.
In your head, you've rehearsed
what
grande vanilla latte, grande vanilla latte, a bit Americano.
Yes, and that's why I just realized it's so much easier just to say, I'll take an Americano.
Welcome to the Just Dance podcast, Just Dance Pod, and this is episode 1, season 1.
Very first episode.
Short episodes. We're just going to hit you with dad stuff.
Yeah.
Dan stuff.
Dad, Dan. All in between.
Anything and everything, because we're dads, we're Dans. Is there much more you need, really?
Dad, Dan?
Yeah. So I think I need to ask those shoe size, Dan. What's the shoe size?
11.5.
Oh.
And the deep breath wasn't because I wanted to say, hey, I'm actually 11.
Are you flexing?
11.5. No, it depends actually on the brand of the shoe, I've realized. There's some brands that are a little bit different. Fun fact about me, my right foot is a ½ inch smaller than my left foot.
I noticed.
Yeah.
You walk with your sandals on one foot.
Most people won't notice unless I have sandals on.
But Dan's remember.
Yeah.
We know. We see.
You're able to see that.
I've got a wide foot. I've got a wide everything. Thick neck.
So
wide neck.
Adidas is a great shoe for you.
Well, I have to go for, in a running shoe, the wide fit. And I feel like it slows me down. I think it's just extra traction, but I can't fit in a narrow shoe.
Interesting. Because I feel like Nike is more of a narrow shoe. Random. New Balance. My dad was a UPS driver.
Okay.
For years. He wore all black New Balances, and he has really wide feet.
For his whole career.
Every day. New Balance. And now they're popular. Now it's like the shoe that's in. It's the fashion shoe.
I'm rocking it right now.
You are. You are. And I did not just say that because you're wearing them. It was a legitimate wide shoe, New Balance. My dad wore New Balance shoes.
Dan, every segment, every episode, we want to hit up a bit of weather.
Yeah.
I want to say it's a dad thing. I didn't realize this at the time. The past 3 years, I've hit my sweet spot as a dad. I walk outside in the morning. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to say, though, here in the southeast of America, it has been chilly.
It gets a lot colder than what I had expected. Growing up, you think the South, warm, ocean, like Florida.
Yeah.
Georgia's right next to Florida, so I'm thinking it's going to be hot, 11 months out of the year. We might get a little cold month, 50s, somewhere around there. The first week we moved here, it actually snowed. I wasn't expecting it. It made me, I don't want to say second guess the move, but it was one of those things where it's like, I hate the cold so much.
Yeah.
To where, was it worth it? I don't know.
So where are you originally from?
Originally South Dakota. 605 represent.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So snow is common.
There's one area code in the entire state.
Come again?
605 is the area code for the entire state. Most states will have, different area codes for phone numbers. Some cities will have multiple area codes. The state of South Dakota, it could be different now.
605.
605.
Represent.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. One for the entire state. So born and raised in South Dakota, cold weather, negative. I mean, winter is 5 months out of the year. It's just not something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And so for me, when it's cold weather, I'm the one that's in a bad mood. I don't want to be outside.
Then coming into this episode, I think it's important to ask, because we just want to share about who we are first.
Yeah.
And I need to say, I'm into the phase of life, mid-30s. I'm safe to say I'm confident in who I am as a human And as a dad, as a person, as a Dan. And part of that, though, is I have embraced making noises. Because there is something about every time you...
yeah.
Every time you stand up, every time you sit down.
That's the number one.
So I don't know if it's a dad thing, if it's a Dan thing, but there are some then morning noises. There's the occasional. I don't think I made those noises in my 20s.
No, I think the older I got, the more noises were being made. But I do think some of them are just Dan noises. But I do think like the stand up, sit down. I feel like every person past the age of 30 to 35, every adult male, they start to make those noises.
I would say my dad came to visit, and my kids recognized that Papa starting to make some noises that Dad's making. And the children fortunately knew I've got to bring this up to Mum as the mediator.
Yeah.
To know the right time to bring it up to me. Hey, love. You are now that age. You're a bit like your dad.
Yeah.
Wow, what do you mean? So I think I've now embraced it, and that morning moment happens.
Yeah. A little extra.
The pre-Zoom call clear.
Yeah. I think I noticed it the first time when I started to sneeze loud. And I think I've always been a loud sneezer.
You are kidding. No, are you for real?
Yeah, I think there's always been a little extra with me, but the older I got, it's more of like yeah. And my dad has done that, and I noticed once I started doing that, and my wife has definitely been outspoken on you sneeze way too loud. But then it goes back to, can you help it? I can't help when I sneeze. I can't control when I sneeze. It's one of those things that just comes on. And so for me, naturally, I'm a loud sneezer. And I think it is the older that I've got, the louder it's gotten.
I love it. Dan, there are some companies, obviously, arguably, we have the best name. And so we want to make sure we tag every Dan we know. We want to make sure that we send this to every Dan we know. But there is one thing I realize only recently. There are a number of companies that use our name.
Yeah.
I would say a disproportionate number of companies use the name Dan in their company name.
And I'd be willing to bet that some of these, the owner, CEO, whoever started this company, their name's not even Dan. It might be a Ben.
It's such a legendary name.
Jared. They're just like, if we implement Dan within this business, we know that there's going to be people that are going to gravitate towards this company.
So here we go, Dan. I got a question for you. This one's close to home, okay? As an Aussie, you may not know. It's highly unlikely you'll know this one. When I say the brand Dan Murphy's, what do you think that store is?
Betting company. Mattresses.
Betting. Going to Dan Murphy's.
I think just Murphy bet came to mind.
Yeah. Good old Dan Murphy's putting me to sleep tonight, boys. It's actually a liquor store.
Liquor.
In Australia. One of the biggest, actually, Dan Murphy's.
So my question then would be, is it Dan Murphy? Is that his name? Is it one of those, like, I have two first names? Or was it Dan and a Murphy came together to create a name? And, of course, Dan's going to be the first name on it.
Kilo combo. So, more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
So I didn't get that one correct.
I don't know. It might be. When I say the brand, Dan's Fan City. It's a legit company. I fact checked. What is Dan's Fan City?
The very first thing that I thought of, we have a lot of fans. It's
actually LA.
Yeah, we've hired them. We actually started that company. I'm gonna say commercial fans, and not. It's the fans that are just like the grand old biggest fan you can think of, industrial fan.
Close. It just says here it's a fan retailer. Like, bang on. You really made it clear. Yeah. Dan's Fans.
Great name though. I give it an A+. That's a great name.
And they've gone for city, not metropolis. Like,
yeah,
good on them. Good on. If you're from Dan's Fan City, hey, check out your fans.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. Guess where? This one's it's a gimme. It's an easy. Dan Post Boots.
Dan Post Boots.
Dan Post Boots. Gee,
I'm just gonna say I wish you would have said Dan's plural instead of Dan, because
I don't know who this Dan is.
Yeah,
good guy though.
Fantastic, great sense of humor. Guarantee the guy is just a hard worker, successful business. I'm gonna be particular. I hope it's cowboy boots.
It just says footwear.
Okay,
I think you're right. All right, last one. Dan Foss.
Dan Foss. Can I get a spelling?
DANFOSS. Dan Foss. What is Dan Foss?
Dan Foss. Ninjas.
Close. No cigar. It's an industrial technology company.
We're smart. It's Dan Foss. This does not surprise me at all.
No.
We're in the tech world. I mean,
100%.
It makes sense to me.
And alright, so
what's a Foss though? That's another question. I feel like I have more questions.
Something in the industry. Don't ask me what industry. Just the industry.
The industry.
We are going to come to, though, here in Georgia, not far from here, there is a tabletop company in the area called Cumming, and we are going to go check it out at some time. There's also Big Dan's in China Grove in North Carolina. So we're going to go check out just some local Dan companies.
And if you work there, if you want to reach out to us
please,
before we come there, I would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But Big Dan's it is?
Yeah, Big Dan's.
I'm excited about that one.
How big? I'm interested in how big is Big Dan.
Who's the shortest person that works at Big Dan's?
Are we talking height? Are we talking
good? Yeah.
Are we talking width?
Shoe size? I mean...
Okay, all right. Dan, I've got a segment. I've got a question for you. And that is, there are things Dan say, or there are things dads say.
Yeah.
Okay. And so as I read them off, I would love you to, is it a dad thing or is it a Dan thing? Is this something that a Dan or yourself would have said before?
Yeah.
Ready? Ask your mother.
Dan. I feel like, actually, you know what? That is a dad one.
Yeah.
But I use that line a lot.
Yeah.
And I know some other Dans
Ask your mother.
that also say the same thing. So I'm going to say dad, actually, on that one. But it will be an emphasis on
heavy Dan usage.
Yeah.
All inclusive.
Yeah.
Hi, hungry. I'm Dan.
Dan.
Yeah.
1,000.
Do you think I was born yesterday? Have you used it before?
I've used that multiple times.
Welcome.
I feel like in the last year.
Welcome. You call that clean?
Oh.
Dan or Dad?
Dan. And I think I've noticed too, you're a very clean man.
I enjoy a tidy home.
Yeah.
I think it's a Dan thing.
Yeah, I think that one's a Dan thing. And you can say your name's Robert, John, whatever, and you use that. I actually feel like that was created by a Dan.
No, 100%.
The cleanliness of who we are, of what we do.
I think it's pure. Like, you got to think of the Bible times. Like, Daniel in the lion's den. You know, this guy, man,
just
that pedigree.
And I think that's where when someone asks the history of the name Daniel, I automatically go to Daniel in the Lion's Den.
Yeah.
What animal in Africa don't you want to mess with?
Well, clearly, it's not the hippo. It's the lion. Could you imagine being chased by a zebra? Cheetah,
Would you run?
I wouldn't rate myself against the cheetah. But I would give a zebra a go.
Yeah. Do they bite? I mean, they have to bite.
Well,
but I feel like, are they aggressive? Are they like... How many people have been on a safari, have been able to have that opportunity to get close to a zebra, and how many zebra attacks have there been?
That's fair. I'm
just not intimidated.
Would you be able to outrun a zebra?
18-year-old Daniel? Yeah. 30-year-old Daniel? Yeah. I might give it to the zebra, but again, I'm not intimidated by that thing.
Fun fact. More people die from hippos than they do lions.
Yeah. But again, lion, far more superior than a hippo.
True.
And the fact that a Daniel was able to be in a den with a superior lion. I mean, we showed him who was boss.
Technically, God did. He used the den.
He used us.
He used us. He used the name.
Yeah.
I think also, Dan, quick fire. All right, back to the phrases. Dan or Dan. Have you used these before as a Dan? Okay. Don't make me turn this car around.
I have said it definitely multiple times, but I think that comes more from my dad. We went on a lot of trips swimming.
Right down the line.
Yeah, it was. I'm going to turn this car on.
Okay, next one. Nothing good happens after midnight.
I'm going to give that to Dad's.
Who touched the thermostat?
Dan. Because we care so much about the client. We care so much about how comfortable we are
with it.
And so for me, it's like, that's a big one for me.
We are changing the industrial landscape with Danfoss.
Yeah.
Yeah. They know. Forget putting green in there.
Yeah.
With
Danfoss has changed the game.
Danfoss. I did a research. Who are these guys? But
Double S. Danfoss.
Dan, for a serious moment. 1 minute, mate. What is... I think from my heart coming into the year 2025, it is January 2025, February 2025. It's the first quarter.
Yeah.
Okay. I am disappointed by people who think the year is already over if something bad has happened. I think looking at the year ahead, I know for myself, I know for my family, that there's always more time. And if not, then this month, then maybe next month, maybe the month after. So I reckon if you've fallen off the horse already,
yeah,
I would like to know there's hope for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think it's hard as a Dan to answer that question because it's really hard for us to actually fall off of a horse.
Fair.
That being said, it's only the beginning. I mean, It's not finished until it's finished. We got to the fourth quarter.
2025 is going to be your year. That is what I'm believing for.
Yeah.
And I think even though you might arrive at your goal, I think goals evolve over time.
Yeah.
And so therefore, if you feel like you get to a place early in the year and you go, what do I do? Just keep going to that new place.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, question for you. And that is, what are some nicknames that you've been called before? Obviously Dan the Man.
Yeah, that was the first thing. Dan the Man, I think, is like the go-to, what everybody will call a Dan at some point in their life.
But let's try it out with different names. Mike the Man. Steve the Man?
No.
Kono the Creature.
Yeah, that one fits. I just
alliteration.
I just don't think it's Dan the Man.
All right. Here's one.
Stan the Man. Stan the Man. But do you know when he stands?
One. Bro, this guy has a smile and a half.
Does he really?
This guy's
How good is this one?
solid guy Stan. Other than solid guy Stan. Solid Stan.
Solid Stan. He works out here.
I think no. Danny boy.
Danny Boy's been. I just feel like that's more of like the middle school, high school.
Danny boy.
Yeah.
Danny boy.
Yeah, I don't think I've been called Danny Boy for a while.
Danster.
Yeah, I don't think me personally, but I do. I wish people called me Dancer more. Yeah. Yeah.
Deej.
Deej. Yeah.
DJ.
Tan Man.
Come again?
Tan Man. It's more of a family thing. I think it's more of like,
yeah,
maybe
rewind. I would put $1 million on no other Dan. It has been called Tan
It could have been my uncle with a speech impediment too, to where it wasn't quite Dan, and maybe he just couldn't quite.
Could I say you are whiter than white?
I am the Norwegian blood.
So far from a tan.
That's true. Yeah, even when it's summertime.
Who is this uncle? What's his name?
Uncle Dane.
Uncle who?
Great uncle. Uncle Dane.
Dane.
Artist, yeah.
Like Great Dane? Like a dog?
Yeah, yep.
Okay.
Uncle Dane.
Danielle?
Hate that one. Yeah, I just feel
I've never been called Danielle.
Try it. See what happens. Try call me Danielle. Not you, but I'm saying someone try call me Danielle. See what happens.
Can I say, is there 3 syllables of Danielle or 2? Danielle?
Danielle.
Or Danielle?
I would say 3. Danielle. If you're saying it,
but you're American.
Yeah.
Can you say Danielle?
Danielle. That's not. Yeah, it's 2 syllables.
You look tight.
Yeah,
you look tight in the upper chest. Danielle.
It's definitely 2 syllables.
Can you say your name in Spanish?
Daniel.
Oh, that's so sexy.
Yeah. I actually wish Daniel was just Daniel.
Oh.
Because if you just say Daniel, I'll do whatever you want me to do.
I'm thinking like it's a movie. Like Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a good name.
It's just it is a superhero name. Let me rephrase. When I say superhero,
Marvel have it all wrong. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no. When I say superhero, I'm talking like when you think of the toughest Daniel you know, besides yourself. Who do you think of?
Oh, the toughest Daniel.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel the Lion's Den.
My point.
Mate, bro, the guy survived the Lion's Den. Well, that is the first episode of Just Dance. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
I'm Dan.
I'm Dan as well.
We're going to create some more content. Dan's, Dad's, everything in between. Looking forward to the next couple of weeks. Enjoy.
Thank you guys.